human brain is evolved to be sensitive to uncertainty. For thousands of years, uncertainty has been linked to threat. How could our ancient ancestors be sure of what was lurking in the dark shadows of the forest? The risk of getting it wrong was that we ended up as lunch for a hungry animal. But the world's a different place now. Even though there's a lot of uncertainty, it's not the type of uncertainty linked to danger. There's not a lot of bears to run away from. So how do we overcome that biological drive that's been there for thousands of years to run away from uncertainty and instead step into it? We'll stick around and we'll find out. The type of things that are likely to create uncertainty in your life in this modern world are things like new people, new situations, and new challenges or experiences. An interesting fact about uncertainty is that one of the reasons why people are scared of clowns is because they can't see what's underneath the makeup. An interesting study also looked at cancer diagnoses, and what they found was that a lot more people were anxious before they got their diagnosis than after they got their diagnosis. Once they got their diagnosis, their anxiety tended to calm down. And the reasons for this is simple. Once the diagnosis was there, they had something to focus on and something to control. Another interesting experiment looked at electric shocks, and they found that people who knew they were getting an electric shock coming were a lot less anxious about it than people who were getting them randomly. And this gives us a really, really important hint about how to manage uncertainty. When we focus on what we can control, we generally do a lot better when it comes to managing uncertainty. Our brain will do anything to create certainty. It's just desperate to know what's coming next. And one of the most common but least helpful strategies it uses to create certainty is to make stuff up. Basically, our brain will make stuff up to fill in the gaps to make us feel like we know what's going to happen. I'll give you an example. If we're about to meet a new person and we're worried and anxious about it, we might think they're going to hate me, they're not going to like me. If we're about to take on a new challenge, our brain will make up a fairy tale which will say, I'm not going to do well at this and I'm not going to cope. Even though it's a fairy tale, it makes our brain think that we've got certainty and we know what's coming next. And it's one of the least helpful strategies that we can do. One of the most important ways to overcome these fairy tales is to walk straight into uncertainty. And when we walk into uncertainty, we disconfirm or we debunk these fairy tales. We go and learn that the predictions or fairy tales we make that fill in the gaps of uncertainty are actually wrong. And we can actually handle it so much better than what we predict. This all gets back to a part of our brain called the amygdala. The amygdala helped our ancient ancestors pick up threats like the bear, but these days it's not so helpful for us, and it's super jumpy. It's always thinking that the world is dangerous when it's not. One way to retrain our amygdala is to make sure we teach it that the world isn't dangerous, and the way to do that is to step into uncertainty. And when we step into uncertainty, we start to learn the equation of uncertainty equals opportunity and not threat. So when you see uncertainty in your life, make sure you walk towards it and not away from it. When you do that, you find out that the outcome's usually neutral or even positive. Remember also to challenge those fairy tales in your life and control what you can control and control it really, really well. I'm Dr. Dave, and I'll see you next time around.